Welcome back to my book channel. My name is Lady Lauren Explorer, and today we're in a different spot. We're also like the noise is just gonna have to be because I have a heat advisory. It's hot. It's like super hot, and I have 4 fans on because like me and Prince, we're trying to stay cool. So today I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I read for the month of July and my most disappointing reads, the reads I DNF'd, and also my 4 to 5 star reads. You already know the reads that I've actually bought already as a 5-star read. My KU buys, my KU to physical buys, so some of those are there. But I do have like some 4 to like 4.75 that I thoroughly enjoyed. I just don't want the physical copy right now or like ever. Like I've enjoyed them, but I don't need the physical copy of them. Especially since like I think some of them are part of a series, and even though I do have one book from a series, it's a duet, so that's the reason why I was okay with buying it. But some of my other ones are part of like series or like trilogies or sagas and all that kind of stuff. And I can't just like help like buying one because like most of them leave on a cliffhanger. There's no point in me buying just that one because again it leaves on a cliffhanger. So I might as well just not buy it at all. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. But let's start. Oh yeah. Okay, so let me start off with my DNFs. I DNF The Study Group by Casey Cole. I DNF'd it because it's a reverse harem with a dumb football player, a professor, and a geek with our heroine. And I stopped at 22% because I said it was boring. Because it was. Nothing I came across as like being like, they were leading up to the getting it on with one of it or 2 of them. It was just really boring to me. So I was like, no, not doing it. Then I read His Consort by Mary Calms. I was 19% into this one, and I said that I felt lost and it was very boring. So there's that. Okay, so this one's called The Legacy by Jewel Adams. This was a over 500-page romance. The thing about it is, I bought this because it was over 500 pages. It was interracial, and it seemed like a good guy meets girl. Guy's been looking for a girl for a long time. Girl has a kind of horrible background with like family and stuff, and guy saves her. I didn't realize it was a Christian novel, and it was very clean. This is when I realized that there can be like clean romances. I didn't know. I should have known, but this was super clean, and I was like, no. And then how we first saw off on a different couple, so I was just like, what is going on here? That's not the name of the person I know that's supposed to be part of this book. So yeah, I was done. I was 120 pages in of an over 500-page book before I was like, I'm good. So those are all of my DNFs. It's not that many. Most of the books I read, I just like read. I read through. Sometimes like it got boring in the after half of it, but I still finished it because I was almost done. So there's no point in just stopping. So I've read 106 books, and I think that includes all my DNFs. So let's start from the beginning. A 4-star that I have is Wildfire by Chill Bliss. This is the Men of Inked Heat Wave #3. It's an MC romance. It's a very light, dark MC romance. Unlovable by Jamil Jasper, the first in the British Bully series or something like that. That's actually the first 4 from this author that I have given. Most of her stuff is like 3s, maybe 2. After that, everything was like a 3. The first book was really good. I only read the first 3, another 6 in the series, but the third book just made me quit. 5-star is Quarantine and Chill by Kenya Wright. I actually have that book, did a book review on it. It was really good. It's a multicultural romance having to do with virus, the pandemic, and a best friend's brother, forced proximity. Love it. Another 5-star is Wyatt the Heartbreaker. This is part of the Brothers Black series. This is a Playboy hero who is interracial too, who is just trying to find the one, and he finds her, but he has decided before he found her, he decided to be like celibate for a minute because he was getting caught up in things. And she comes around and he's just wanting to, he fell in love with her body first, then fell in love with her personality. And then that's what stuck. So yeah, that was a good one. Yes, The Brutal Boys of Everlake Prep. Can't tell you, like that series. I think the first book, which is Kings of Quarantine, then the second book, which is Kings of Lockdown, I gave both 5 stars. Then I gave Kings of Anarchy a 3.75 because it was just like a lot of sex, and then like a lot of things did happen in it, but like I was just like, okay, whatever. But Queen of Quarantine, which is the final book in the saga, I gave a 4. Love that series. Love it, love it, love it. I have the books. I wish they came out with special editions or hardcovers because I would then get them too. Oh, yes. The Broken Beginning, Part 1 of the Aches High MC Charleston #8. This is a 2-part, but the Part 1 you can just read by itself because like it's a happy for now. Part 2 is not a happy for now. It's kind of bittersweet, but Part 1 is a happy for now, and this has a cheating in it. It's an MC romance, and the hero is cheating on her heroine throughout the whole entire book until probably like the latter of their history. But it's about a girl who has had a crush on her next door neighbor for the longest, who is also a part of the MC family. She is, because both their fathers are members of this MC club. He has never showed any signs of liking her, but she's always had this crush. One night, things lead a certain way, and she ends up pregnant, and he feels trapped. Both their parents and the club members, the press, tell them they need to get married and stay together for the child. He feels even more trapped, and then he just doesn't care, so he just starts messing around for years. And she knows that he's messing around for years. Very heartbreaking. There is, again, like I said, a happy for now ending. Don't read the second one if you don't want to blow your eyes out about certain characters, but I'm just saying. Part 1, I gave that a 4.75. A 5-star from this is The Other Side of Unhappy by Kaylee Samuels. I read this book is a mafia, male romance with so much more. It took me almost 3 days to read the book because I was like digesting what was going on, because I was trying to figure out why I liked this, This was a different kind of mafia romance than I was used to reading, and I love that for it. So yes, I reread Untouchable. Like, there's much more you can say like that. I reread it. I think it's like my 5th time rereading it since I bought it. So yeah, just saying. Lust, The 7 Sins, #2 by Anise. Dietra Anise. I hope I said that right. This one is a forbidden one as well because it's between adopted siblings. And it's almost like a retelling because it has to do with demons and angels. This is a deadly sin, and the non-com is crazy in this. I give this book a 4.75. So yeah, I don't know if I said that. But the non-com is crazy in this. There is an HEA at the end. Believe me, I was just like, ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, a little uncomfortable, but I do like it. So yeah. Deadly Vows by Haley Stewart, a 4.75. This one, the non-com is off the charts as well. There's R word in here, a lot of it, but it deals with arranged marriage, a possessive and possessive husband, mafia romance. The tropes in here is crazy. It's crazy. He is very crazy. She is just trying to survive. And I actually think that this story is a story of Stockholm Syndrome because you can slowly see her mind start to break as things start happening. I was uncomfortable, but it was good. Another 5-star is Overdose by Raven St. Perry. This one was crazy. It was a dark romance between a sex therapist and a sexaholic who is also a therapist. But there's so much more going on in the book because our sex therapist, she is on the cusp of being divorced in the beginning, but her partner is also her husband of the clinic that they run together. He cheated on her, that's why she's getting divorced. And some crazy things happen because our sexaholic, who's also a therapist himself, finds her very attractive. It's an inspirational romance, and I think there is some thrilling aspects in this book. Just saying. Another book that I didn't think I was gonna like because it was so hyped, but Archer's Voice, I did a book review on that on this channel. Gave a 5-star. This has a disabled character who is our hero, and he's mute. He is misunderstood by the town. Our heroine comes in and basically like takes him out of his shell. And I wouldn't even say take him out of his shell. It's basically treating him like he's supposed to be treated, that he's not abnormal. That's all he's human and he can hear. He just doesn't speak. Like, that's it. This is their love story. There's like an underlining story in here that was just filled with drama, death, deceit, and family drama. Love that. My next one is a 4.25. This is by Saboyne, Davis. But this is When Forever Changes. I literally was trying to hate this book. It has the trope that I love and the trope that I hate when it comes to the trope that I love. I love cheating romances. I hate terminal illnesses in my cheating romances. But this one sucked me in, and I just couldn't hate what was going on in the book, even with the terminal illness coming into play. crazy. I was bawling my eyes out. In my video, I think you can still see like my redness of my eye. I was ugly crying. It was great. It ends with the HEA, so that's all you need to know. Hooking Up by Helen Hunting. This one has infidelity in it, but it's not between our, technically. Okay, let me just, hear me out. Our heroine is married. She's at her reception. Hours before, she just got married to her husband. He goes to the bathroom, and then a mic comes on, and all you hear is him getting a BJ by a woman at his reception, where both their families are, and hears it. Our heroine is not having it. She runs to her bridal room, but who happens to be in her bridal room? His cousin, who just wanted to like get away from the festivities because he was just getting tired and he wasn't like really happy with this. And she tries to revenge fuck, but he's just like, no, please, I don't want this to happen. Like I want whatever to happen between us, not because of what's happening to you right now. Long story short, she decides to go on her honeymoon by herself, and who happens to be on the plane going to the same place because his parents want him to lay low because his date is the one that was giving the BJ to her husband. And that starts a very scandalous and steamy couple of weeks in Bora Bora, where she technically is still married to her husband and having sex with his cousin. Things happen, they get back, secret relationships going on. It ends with the HEA though. So I didn't expect to like this. Morning Glory, Milking Farm by C.M. Moscato. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. This is a monster romance between a human and a minotaur. All I can say. And when you think of milking, that's where your mind leads to. 5 stars though. 5 stars. Another one I did not expect to like. I just read it and I was just like why? Why do I like this? It was just like really funny. Like I don't understand why I liked it. I don't, but it was good to me. And it's The Trouble with Trying to Date a Murderer by Jennifer Cody. This was unbelievable. It's a fantasy sci-fi. I don't understand it. And I can't tell you why I liked it. I just did. That's crazy, right? This has to do with one of our heroes, this is M.M. Mermit, who is mute, and we get introduced to him because like he's working in a diner, and our other hero comes in who is dressed like he's about to go to Armageddon. All these guns on him, and he like our hero doesn't understand why no one on the outside like is like freaking out in New York with all this guy with like all these grenades and handguns strapped to him. But we later find out it's because of magic and fae. But he goes into the diner and our other hero orders something to eat, and then everyone in the diner starts shooting at our other hero. Our first hero falls in love. It's crazy. It was only 188 pages, but I just couldn't stop reading, and I loved it. And the next one is Wedding of the Century by Patricia McLennan. This is a 4. It has cheating in it, but technically it wasn't cheating. It's implied, but it never happened. And it's our heroine. She's like literally at the altar with our hero, and the pastor or the priest is asking for people to like say something or forever hold your peace, and our hero's ex-girlfriend literally busts through the doors and says, I object because I'm pregnant 6 months or 7 months with his baby. And our heroine obviously leaves. 8 years later, she comes back into town because her brother is in the hospital for breaking his arm. He works in construction, so she's going to take care of him. And our hero does not want her to leave. It's a single dad romance. There is some underlining things happening in the background that we don't know. It's dual perspective, and it was really good for a cheating romance is not cheating. It was really good. The next one is another cheating romance, and this was a 4.25. It's Life Without You by S.P. West. This one was a little heartbreaking at first because it deals with our heroine who she's starting to feel that her husband is cheating on her. She sees the signs and she's just trying to collect herself. And our hero, who's her husband, is actually cheating on her. And you see from both perspectives the things that she is feeling and things that lead him to cheat on her. It's like her actions of wanting to be a good wife and have a healthy family, he perceives as trying to settle down too soon for how young they both are. And he actually does fall in love with the other woman. Things do happen because of that, and they rekindle their relationship 3 years later. So it kind of is a second chance romance. There is groveling, even though it's 3 years later. There is groveling. Oh my gosh! I finally read A Husband's Regret by Natasha Anders, mainly because I love the first one, which is The Unwanted Wife, which also has cheating in it. A Husband's Regret does not have cheating in it, but it's basically about our hero and our heroine who are married. She tells him that she's pregnant, and he blows up because he wasn't ready to have a kid. So she decides that he tells her to leave, and she does. We later find out that she left him and she waited for him. He didn't come for her, so she actually just left. This is a couple years later, and she is working for non-pay, and she happens to meet his brother because she falls ill at her job as a waitress, and we find out that some things have happened to her husband because they're still married, and he blames her for his challenges. And he is actually deaf because of something that happens to him that he blames her for. I did not like it because it did not make sense. There's nothing that made sense in the whole entire book besides him getting mad at her and her leaving. That's the only thing that made sense. Everything else, I was just no one had questions. No one thought something was wrong. No one planned accordingly. I don't understand how this went on for so long. That was a 1. Another one is Spite by Candace Wan Dark. This one was supposed to be a bully, dark bully romance about a girl who is coming back to her old hometown after being bullied by these boys in basically her school, but mainly the boys. They bullied her so bad that she tried to commit S-word, and she's coming back to bring them down. None of this happened. There's no bullying going on besides the first half of it, which was like told in the, not even first half, like it was just back and forth of past and present. I like this. The story did not make sense. The plot didn't make sense. Our reverse harem was okay. It's just like nothing correlated to what was given to us. And yeah, that was why it was a 1. If I would have given it a 0 if I could, but it was just a 1. Another 5-star is Wicked Escaped by Win Roman. You know this from my KU buys. This is a cheating romance, a second chance romance. But the cheating happened in high school, and now they are adults. Our hero is a part of a rock band. He comes back to his hometown and happens to meet his first love. A lot of things happen, and there's a crazy stalker. There is other woman drama. There's other man drama. It was just good. Void by Raven Kennedy. This one is a 4.5, but I still bought it. Great. It's a reverse harem. It has fae. This has to do with a girl who is in the human world because of her powers. She's a void. A void is a person who takes people's powers, and all of the fae don't want her around because they're scared that she'll take their powers. And what are they without their powers? Something happens where her powers switch different phase. So she has to go to council. The council wants to strip a vampire of her vampirian power, and the vampire's boyfriend, who is a werewolf, tries to interrupt and attack our heroine, and the void powers latch onto the werewolf and latch onto the female vampire, and switch them. So now our vampire is a she-wolf, and our werewolf is now a vampire. The council wants to harness this power, so they want her to learn how to use it and use it well. So they tell her she needs to go to the Fae school, and it has to do, this is like kind of enemies to lovers, because the vampire leader, necromancer leader, the elemental leader, the shapeshifter leader is at the school, and they're the ones that have to safeguard her and make sure she doesn't like interrupt the school schedule, and also protect the school from her and vice versa. And it was just really good. It was really good. Renee Kent, I hope I said that right, but this is the Thorns duet, Red Thorns. This is the book that I was saying that I just bought the first one. It leaves you on a cliffhanger, but I'm okay because I don't really care for the second book. I bought it in hardcover too because this first book was chef's kiss. I give it a 5-star. This has to do with a bet with a football player and a cheerleader, and it leads to a very dark relationship in our heroine. She's actually a virgin in the beginning of this, and the non-com is crazy. There's primal play in here. I was there. Scream for Us by Molly Dolly. This one is a novella, a Halloween reverse harem, and it's about a girl who decides to just let loose one night. She happens to come upon this man who takes care of her in her time of really need because something happens to her, and he helps her out. Him and his buddies decide they want her, and she's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it for only one night. Some crazy things happen it's erotica, but some crazy things happen. There's a whole bunch of death and blood and murder. I was just what? we find out that they've been watching her for like the longest time, and she's never knew. No, because they all have masks on, so like she doesn't know that she kind of knows them. But yeah, that was good. Another Ridicant, God of Malice. I bought this book in hardback edition because I fell in love. It's a 5-star read for me. I think I talked about it in my KU buys, so I'm gonna like really talk about it again. But it's an enemies to lovers romance that is not enemies to lovers, because I don't know what to call this. I know it's like it has non-com in it. Our heroine is a virgin. It sort of feels like it has mafia ties in it as well. It's not, it's implied. There are certain things that say that it has mafia ties in it, but it just deals with the children of the Renegade world, of like the Thorn duet, what's that other school duet? The trilogy that I have. Oh my gosh. But basically it's like the spin-off of all of her other books, and these are their children in college. And our hero is just if you like Untouchable, then you're gonna like our hero in God of Malice. He is just a psychopath. He's psychotic, and I love him. Another 5-star that I actually have in my KUs, so I'm not going to talk about it too much again, is Starting a Fire by Julie Wolfe. This is an interracial romance. It has bullying in it. Yeah. There is a lot of non-com aspects of it, but I liked it. This one, Church. Okay, let me tell you, I didn't know that this was a series that wasn't complete, or else I would have never read it. But I fell in love. I gave this book a 4-star. This has to do, obviously, with church. Our heroine, she, when she was younger, her best friend brutally attacked her because her best friend wasn't there mentally. I think he had schizophrenia, because he thought there was voices in his head telling him that in order for her, our heroine, to not leave him, he had to kill her. So that's what he did. Well, he definitely tried to do. And then he actually left. So from that traumatic aspect, I don't think they found her until like 2 or 3 days later. From that aspect of it, she became mute. She just didn't want to talk. It's not like she couldn't talk, she just doesn't talk. Also, she doesn't want to get her best friend in trouble. Her mother remarries to a very religious guy, like super religious. He treats her horrible. He hits her. He's abusive to her because she can't talk, and he's just horrible to her. He sends her off to this religious school to cleanse her of her demons. And this is a reverse harem. Every character has something going on mentally, because it's like basically it's a religious school. It's a mental institution. There you go. So each of our heroes has something going on. So like some of them are pyromaniacs, some of them are actually psychopaths, some of them have bipolar. It's crazy. The plot was like super crazy because her best friend's there. I was just sucked. And then they'll leave me on that cliffhanger. I almost cried because of the cliffhanger. And I also was like super mad at one of the boys because of his actions that correlate to the cliffhanger. That was great. Okay, Misconceptions by Julia Wolfe. This one I gave a 4.5. This is a rock star romance, interracial one, and a reverse age gap. It happened to me at the bar. They rekindle their friendship because like she used to be stage manager for them, his band. They get super wasted super wasted. She becomes pregnant. And then we find out they're married because of that one night in Vegas. Things happen, and it's just her and him trying to work from like backwards because they're married. They don't like technically really know each other. So they're trying to be as intimate in the relationship of like getting to know each other can go. I love this because the chemistry they have and the not even like the drama was like good, but it's just learning to love someone you're married to that you don't know. Like, I don't know. I liked it though. Bloodied Hands by Adelaide Forrest. Yeah, Forrest. This one, it's a mafia romance. It's a second chance romance. We have our hero who his high school love. He like dumps her, publicly humiliates her. Years later, she is in a bank. The bank is getting robbed, and the robbers look at her and realize who she is, and they ask her to not tell the hero that they robbed her. They're just gonna let her go, and they just book it out. And so she's like, what does Mateo have to do with this? And why is my ex from almost 10 years ago, what does he have to do with what's going on? So she goes to him, and we realize he's in the mafia. He takes it as a sign that he let her go because he needed to let her go because of the family ties and all that kind of stuff. But he takes the sign as she's coming back into his life as, oh, well, now she's here. I am going to pursue her. Whether she likes it or not, she's going to be mine, whether she likes it or not. So he does a whole bunch of messed up things to her, like captures her, breeding kink, tampering. It's a lot, and I loved it. 5-star. Yes. This one is a 4-star. This was Savage, from the Savage Fall Sinners MC by Caitlin Dare. This one is a reverse harem, but you don't see it in the first one. We only see it as a MFM, but as the series continues, because it's a saga, you see the reverse harem and it comes together. And this has to do with our heroine, who's a princess of the Sinners MC, her ex-best friend, and the almost like bad boy hero. It's just like that chemistry where she hates him, but she likes him. And then her ex-best friend, like, she likes him. And things happen. A lot of stuff like is going on in that world. Loved it. The tension, the other boy, because this does have bullying in it, but not to like not our heroes bullying our heroine, but other people bullying our heroine. The things that happened in the series was crazy. Loved the first book. I continued the series, so that should say something. The last book that was above a 4, and this was a 4.75, is Vipers and Virtuos. Hope I heard that right. By Sav R. Miller. This is a dark romance. It's a stalker romance. It's a rock star romance. And I read this. I'm going to buy it in hardback. The only reason I read this is because of one scene from Bookstagram that I saw. And it was a woman holding a bottle of lotion and blushing. And it said, did I just read that our hero busted in our heroine's lotion and she used it? And I was just like, what? Huh? I had to read it. And then when I got to that part, I was like, what? You just like off in the lotion? What? It's crazy. Love it. Love it. Gosh. This is, like I said, it's a dark stalker romance. It's also dark because of what the heroine is going through at the time, or even before her time, because I think she's part of like a sex trafficking ring, and she'd been physically abused. She has the scars, a whole bunch of scars. But yeah, this Chef's Kiss, I will be buying it in hardback soon. So yeah. Okay, this is a long video, so let me just end it now. I hope you all enjoyed it. My name is Lady Lauren Explorer, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!